Hi, welcome to math class. Today we're going to continue our study on properties of numbers. I want to start with calling your attention over here to these two vocabulary words. We have prime number and composite number. Do you remember from our vocabulary notes yesterday what a prime number is? Oh, I knew you would. A prime number is a number that has only two factors, one and the number itself. So, an example of a prime number would be number 5, because the number 5 has only 1 and 5 as factors. Is 7 a prime number? Absolutely right. 7 is a prime number. So, I have a question for you. Why is 9 not a prime number? Right, because 3 times 3 is 9, and we know that 9 is a square number. So 9 actually has three factors. It has 1 and 9, but it also has 3 as a factor. So let's take a look at the next word, which is called composite number. Well, if a number is not prime, which means it only has two factors, right? A prime number only has two factors. But if a number is not prime, meaning it has more than two factors, it is called composite. So every number that is not a prime number is a composite number, meaning it has more than two factors. All right, let's get started. Come on over here to I'm going to have him read it for you.
Properties of numbers. Math words. Prime number. Composite number. When a number is represented as an array, you can recognize some of the special properties of that number. Prime numbers have exactly two factors, 1 and the number itself. 7 and 23 are examples of prime numbers. Numbers that have more than two factors are called composite numbers. 6 is an example of a composite number. The number 1 has only one factor. It is neither a prime number nor a composite number.
So, many of you probably have never heard this song before, but I'm going to sing you a song, and it's called One is the Loneliest Number That You Ever Knew. So, that is because one is so lonely. It is the only number that is not prime and not composite. So it's in a category all by itself. The number 1 has only one factor. It is neither a prime number nor a composite number. So let's take a look at the question. And that question is, how can we find all of the prime numbers up to 100? For yesterday's activity, you found all of the prime numbers up to 50. So what would be a way that we could find all of the prime numbers up to 100? Do you have any ideas? We'll get back to that question later. So I'm going to move this so I can turn the page. Okay, so now we're going to talk about square numbers. We talked about prime numbers and composite numbers, and here is a new word called square number. That's actually on your vocabulary sheet. A square number is the result when a number is multiplied by itself. 2 times 2 is 4, so 4 is a square number. 3 times 3 is 9, so 9 is a square number. One thing to keep in mind is that a square number will always make a square as an array. We know that arrays are rectangles, but square numbers are special. Square numbers actually make a square when we're creating arrays. 9 and 400 are examples of square numbers. And here we have another question. It says,
think about how to find all the square numbers up to 100.
So think about that. We talked about finding all of the prime numbers up to 100, and now the same question, but the question would be square numbers. And we'll come back to both of those. Okay, so then we have two more math words. These two are not in your vocabulary because I think these are probably terms that you've learned in previous math, in previous years in your math classes, and that is even number and odd number. An even number is composed of groups of two. If you think back to that student activity book sheet that we did where we were making the arrays that were 2 tiles wide, we know that, and I'll go ahead and let me just grab that real quick and I'll make a couple of these. 1, 2. So we made one array that was 2 tiles wide. So we know that number 2 is an even number. And then if I just keep making arrays that are 2 tiles wide, I can keep going and going and going, and all of those numbers are going to be even. So 2 is even, 4 is even. I can create another one over here. 6 is even. So these are arrays that are 2 tiles wide. 2 tiles can make that, 4 tiles, and 6 tiles as well. I'm going to come on back over here and get rid of that. There we go. So one of the factors of an even number is always 2. 12 and 30 are examples of even numbers, and you can see that they can both create arrays that are 2 tiles. In this case, they're 2 tiles high, but if we switch that, rotate it a little bit, it would also be 2 tiles wide. Let's take a look at odd numbers. An odd number is composed of groups of 2 plus 1. An odd number does not have 2 as a factor. So 13 and 21 are examples of odd numbers. You can see that they do not make arrays, do they? They do not make an actual array other than by 1 and itself. So that's how we know that these are odd. 13 you cannot make an array that is 2 tiles high with the number 13, nor can you with the number 21. So we know that 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27, 29, 31, and I can go on and on and on. All of those are odd numbers. So what I'd like you to do right now is to, I'm going to actually skip away from here. I want to go to the student activity book pages that you're going to be completing today. And you're going to start right over here. It's called Number Puzzles, 2 Clues. So that's going to be student activity book. Get rid of that. No, I don't want to save it. There we go. That is going to be student activity book page. Let me see. Page 7. So this is page 7 in your student activity book. I'd like you to complete this. It says for each number puzzle, follow these steps. Find 2 numbers that fit both clues. Please draw unmarked arrays and label the dimensions to show that your numbers fit both clues. And let's just real quick just give an example of what an array looks like. I'm going to start with that. So this guy right here is an array. And you will just have to label that. I'm going to go ahead and label that for you so we can. So for example, if I were to label this array, remember array is just a rectangle. I'm going to make it an unmarked array. And I'm going to say this is a 10 by 2. So this is the simple way for me to mark my array. And then it says to list other numbers that also fit both clues. Now, I just came up with randomly the number 20, so I made a 2 by 10 array. You're going to make sure that yours follow the clues or fit the clues. So for number 1, it says this number of tiles will make an array that is 2 tiles wide. So I know it's going to be an even number, right? Because any array that is 2 tiles wide is going to be an even number. So I know it's going to be even. This number of tiles will also make an array that is 4 tiles wide. So I know that when I list out all of the numbers that are 2 tiles wide, I know I have 2, and then I can list 4. I can keep going with 6 and 8 and 10. Oh, I'm talking faster than I'm writing. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, on and on and on. But This one also has to make one that is 4 tiles wide. Will the number 2 make an array that is 4 tiles wide? No. Will the number 6 make an array that is 4 tiles wide? No. So here I know that it's going to be number 4 and number 8 are going to be 2 numbers that fit both clues. So I can come on over here and write the number 4, and then I can write the number 8. I would like you to come up with a different number. So if you were to keep going, right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Or the other option would be for you to list all of the multiples of 2 and then all of the multiples of 4 and see which numbers fit under both categories. And then you're just going to come on over here and draw your array. I've listed for you on the Google Classroom all the different ways that you are going to be able to share your work with me. You do have this exact tool that I'm using right now. You are more than welcome to use that and then just share it with me that way. So this array, oh boy, this should be a square, shouldn't it? That does not look like a square. 2 by 2. Let me grab that eraser. That should look like a square, and it doesn't. So where's my eraser? Oh, there it is. Okay, so let me just erase part of this. There we go. Okay, so now this actually does look like a square, which means I did it correctly. 2 by 2 gives me 4, so that's my array to go with 4. This one is a 2 by 4, and that's how I got 8. And that's all you have to do for each of these on page 7. Let's see. So that was number 1. And then, oh, this is page 1 of 2. And then you're going to do the same thing with the next page, which should be page number 8. So I'd like you to complete this and meet up with me during office hours, and we will discuss any questions you have about anything that you learned today. I'll see you soon.